Hello guys, welcome back to Geological as always, and today we are on Nightreign yet again. So we are, obviously this is going to be, I think we're on to the Augur mission, and our target of today's kill is Mars. So it is, that's more or less the long and the short of it, so it is. Yeah, I still have to stick to the post-commentary style of doing things for the meantime until we get to the final boss. I've already rectified that in that video though, so it is what it is. Now, straight off rip, the first camp that we land at is unfortunately a bit of a dud. We do get a continuous HP regen, but unfortunately that really doesn't benefit us in a lot of ways, so it doesn't. So unfortunately, it's just a case of we need to move on. Now, of course, next boss, we aim for one of the chapels so we can get preferably something of use. So it is now Mars is the Augur, and this boss fight is weak to lightning, so that's primarily what we're going to be wanting to be aiming for. So it is, but at the same time though, it's also just generally cleaning up as we go along and getting the levels that we need. Unfortunately, a lot of the time I get scuffed on this run. I'm not getting much of what I would actually quite like, but in that scenario it somewhat is what it is. We head upstairs while everybody else runs on. We head upstairs and actually obtain something that is actually considered an upgrade, the heart bow. So it is, and that there's now what we're aiming to get to using. So it is. Now there is an additional chest up here. Now this chest can have a random assortment of goodies, and as it says, with everything being this with it being as early as it is, this is kind of what we need. We need anything that we can get our hands on. Unfortunately, again, I get slinged on it. Bad pun, I know, but it is what it is. They had already cleaned up the second patch by the time we got there, and finally we get something that is actually usable. We get a red branch bow with holy damage. Now this is good for me for the meantime, but we do end up switching it out later on, of course. Being able to use it is the main priority. So it is, we're getting to level 3 and supplying it, keeping our supplies up is good. Merchants is always a strong thing to go and take a look at, but unfortunately it's purely down to what they are selling at the time. If they're not selling anything good, then we're kind of boned. But sometimes the merchants do actually have something good. We hit a chapel on the way past because flasks. That's all that needs to be said in that scenario, so it is. Of course, everybody's moving around at their own pace, doing their own thing. So they are. We do then go hunt down a camp and take out a Lane and Misbegotten, praying that we get something of actual use. And unfortunately, as the rule tends to go, we did actually get something, so we did. We got the lightning pike that gives us additional ranged damage. As of recently, I think in the previous stream, I was told that two-handing your armaments does actually work on bows, so that is advantageous for us. Stop by an odd cathedral to grab an odd piece, and then this is something that I'm going to recommend that you don't do day one. Don't go to the corrupted nighttime events, because these events are basically just super juiced enemies. So they are you, basically, depending on who spawns. The rewards that you can get from them are pretty damn nice, because you can get your class starting weapon, in purple rarity, so you can. So this is a very good thing to grab. But the thing is though, is I would recommend that you hold off until the second day to do this, because depending on who spawns depends on how quickly you're going to get annihilated. I think in this scenario we got the Executor and the Raider, which is unfortunately not very good for me, but it is what it is. Whenever an RNA spawns, pray, because I have been one shot by an RNA in the past. Not nice. My recommendation, leave this kind of thing to day 2, because these guys don't mess around in the slightest. The gear that they do also drop is either one of their pieces or another piece. Unfortunately, not very good. Flames are encroaching in, but considering I'm a ranged character, I can snipe the troll and pull him over to us. So we clean that up quick, easy, and more or less just quick and simple at that stage. Unfortunately, we're going to be aiming for improved affinity here. That's not unfortunate, that's a very good thing, because we're going to need it for the boss. Boss has an elemental weakness, so let's use it. Now, it says we're still on day 1 here, so the fact that we're going after the Zamor Knight in the castle is somewhat impressive, but luckily enough it is a weaker enemy. Now, as it says, the main enemy that you do not want to be seeing down here on day 1 is the Bell-Bearing Hunter, because he is absolutely beefed to an unreasonable degree. So he is beefed to a truly unreasonable degree, but as you can see, the flame is encroaching damn quick, and I'm looking anything that I can get my hands on. While walking is our option, which is not what I wanted, but it is what it is. We do manage to escape, and then we make it to the boss, which is the almighty Gaping Dragon has returned to Elden Ring. That says a lot. I don't even want to know what the lore implications are, but it is what it is. The Gaping Dragon is still a massive target, easy to kill, but he does come with a few new tips and tricks on his side. Now, will you see them in this boss fight? Unfortunately not, because he does get mowed down quite quickly. But mostly his attacks more or less just resemble around a lot of jumping and a lot of potential puking. This is, the puking is his new trick, because there's a lot of attacks that he can follow up with whenever he is in that state that allows him to just puke everywhere on the map, causing a great deal of problems. As of right now, I'm looking to see where our next target of actual want is. And unfortunately, we are a great distance away, so we are. And of course, because I don't know the exact place that we're going, I'm just going to pick a mine, because getting a reliable purple weapon is definitely something you want. Now, here I should have been a little bit smarter. Instead of picking up extend spell duration, I should have picked up the dodge mastery, because being evasive is probably a lot better. So it is. Being evasive as Iron Eye is the key here, so it is. So I should have probably went with it. On the other hand, though, we stop by a little mine and then pick up our lovely smithing stone too. This is where this is good for me, so it is, because I always seem to run the luck of having bad luck. Now, I didn't even know that the Miranda Bloom could be a world boss, but it works out in our advantage, because quite frankly, it's possibly one of the easiest bosses you can put down, so it is. The only issue that you do have when fighting it, though, is you have to clean out all the rest of the plants at the same time. So it can be a bit of a time sink. So damage while two-handing is a good option, but at the same time, stamina recovery is another perpetually perfect thing that we need, so it is. We then hit our the lightning camp. This is simply just down to the base factor of we need lightning weaponry to be able to do any more of this. Unfortunately, the enemies here can really mess you up if you're not prepared for them, so just keep that in mind. The bosses can really, like, the beastmen can really mess you up if you're not prepared. We then finally get our hands on a composite bow that does indeed give us lightning damage. Again, this is something that we are in desperate need of, because the additional lightning damage is going to be good against the boss. That's the big thing that I'm trying to really push the point on here. The additional lightning damage really helps. Now, why they decided to pick on a magma worm, possibly one of the beefiest bosses, one of the chunkiest bosses, at this time, I'm not sure. But probably not the best idea at this stage, because our DPS is clearly lacking in terms of bleed procs or anything else, and the fire's encroaching. So I'm making the executive decision to get my ass out of dodge, because it's just going to cause issues if I stay. We're just not going to have the time to do what needs to be done in that scenario, so we simply don't. So we're going to stop by, pick up an half flask, and I think that there should bring us up to the maximum amount of flasks that we can have, which is absolutely perfect. We stop by the castle again for some unreasonable reason, and I get caught in a 1v1 with a Crucible Knight for no other reason than fuck it, I guess. But I do have an idea of what these guys are up to. So I do. Because it was only at this time that I actually copped on that there is actually something else in the castle, bar the lower level. There is a very upper level that has a elite level boss on top of the castle that does have a very strong chance of being able to drop a lot of good material. Now, this boss did take a while, because at the same time, it's an ulcerated tree spirit. We already know the kind of pain that these guys can inflict from Elden Ring baseline. So yeah, this boss at this time really doesn't help us. But luckily enough, our Revenant and our Executor are pretty damn good at this game, so I can't really deny too much on it. Still doesn't stop me from getting blitzed twice in this scenario, but it is what it is. As says, I'm the sacrificial player, so I am. I'm the sacrificial player that's just the one that gets... The boss always aims for it, but according to my little brother, who's also playing Nightreign at the moment, he's also found out that there just seems to be a case of Iron Eyes is just getting hounded by the bosses. It just seems to be a case where the boss just does not like Iron Eyes. So yeah, that says it's possible. But then the fire's encroaching again, and then we get the absolute pinpoint perfect bow for this. So we not only have a holy bow, but we also have it infused with lightning as well, which is absolutely phenomenal. So it is. We have the perfect bow going into this fight. So we do. And then we're up against the full-grown Falling Star Beast. Now, again, this boss, as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen any new tricks from this boss. Didn't prove to be overwhelmingly difficult. The only thing that really sort of posed an issue was the absolute range that he can have. I haven't discovered anything new with him specifically. He just still feels like a Falling Star Beast. So I can't really say much. The one thing I can say though is your dash can't go through his entire hitbox, which is a bit disappointing. But that scenario, it mostly is just a case of it is what it is. Goes down, no issues. There's not really much of a problem to be said there, so there isn't. And then we follow up on immediately with the increased stamina. Of course, we're going to pick the stamina. FP is redundant unless you get a particularly good weapon art on your bow. And that there's normally either going to be Rain of Arrows. But even at that there, against most bosses, Rain of Arrows really isn't going to help you too much. And I decided to level up this bow. Don't know why, but it is what it is. I'm also not 100% sure if that added damage actually applies. So the added lightning damage, I'm not actually 100% sure if it actually straight up applies in this scenario. Again, I'm not 100% sure. So again, more testing is needed, but it is what it is. Because the reason why I don't know if it works is because the glintstones work, so they do. So it makes me curious, so it does. But yes, now we're on to the boss. Now, personally, I find this boss to be the easiest of the Night Lords to put down. Maris, Fathom of the Night. Again, I didn't find him particularly difficult, but he is particularly annoying because he loves to do these bombing runs with these jellyfishes, and then you also have I think later on there's tentacles that stick out of the ground. The main attack that really pisses me off is that wave attack, because it's really hard to gauge if you're in or out. So it is. It's very hard to gauge if you're in or out of that attack range, so you are. Again, he still proves to be the evasive type of boss. I have seen normally your best bet's to be ranged when dealing with a boss like this, so it is. But at the same time, though, being ranged means that you really are limiting your DPS. So you are, as I said, Iron Eye is not the most powerful character. He is more of a sustained damage as long as you've got somebody to sit and face tank for you. AKA, if you have a Guardian, you can allow an Iron Eye to really rack up damage quite nicely, because he needs to be close. Unless you get the correct amulets for Iron Eye, you really do need to be close to them to get any meaningful damage. Other than that, you're normally hitting in the double digits. But with the right setup, I have gotten up to about 700 damage per shot, which is pretty damn nutty. So it is. But then there's focusing on the enemy's weakness and me getting perfect rolls on things. So it is. It was just it's as simple as that in that scenario. So it is. But no, his whirlpool attack, because if you actually notice that you're actually in the water, which is kind of a little bit of a mind fuck if you think about it, because you're actually in the water whenever you're fighting. This is this guy's ultimate. See, this effect of sleep is quite nutty in my opinion, because this is actually a area wide, as in boss room wide AoE sleep, which is quite nasty in my opinion. And again, those fucking waves. But that map-wide AoE is pretty nasty, so it is. As it says, this fight does take a while, and for some unknown reason, my arrow did not hit him, which is a lot unfortunate. But he's still, most bosses still find the need to try and hunt me down. It's mostly just trying to get sustained damage, but with him moving around as much as he does, as well as dropping the carpet bomb runs, it's very hard to get sustained damage, like an actual moment of sustained damage. I did find that funny where he managed to actually cover up his wave attack and the explosions. So he did, and I'll give the bosses credit when credit is due. Some of them are fucking nasty, so they are. And that's all I really have to say, but you really do need to start amping out damage at this scenario, because we are just, we are tickling this boss. So now, it's his second form, his evolutionary state, which just looks like he's got a lot of seaweed trailing behind him. I don't even know if you'd call this a jellyfish. So I really do not know, but he's got seaweed trailing behind him now, which is always fun. I think it just makes him more irritating to deal with in a way, because there's that, I don't think those individual strands have a hitbox, which causes issues, so it does. You can see the tentacles slamming down in the background, and I'm just like, right, not a carpet bombing run, funsies. But he is going very, very high in the sky, which really does leave me to be very suspicious a lot of times, because whenever bosses tend to fly up, aka Radahn, normally tends to be result in something very dangerous, but in this scenario, I'm quite wrong. Luckily enough, I don't even have the range to do the damage, and the wave, again, the wave always hits me. I don't even know why. It's just such an annoying hitbox that is applied to it. So it is. He's trying to push everybody away, and I'm just like, no, I'm not having part of this. The tentacles around the map really don't help, because they can, whenever you're in the middle of a fight, can just snipe you, and you're just going to get slapped in the back for no apparent reason than haha funny. So it is. But no, as I said, this boss is particularly devious in a lot of ways. So it is. It's mostly just a game eye. And then this is where he shoots up into the sky and releases this. As soon as I seen this, I wasn't even going to try to get close to that. And there was a reason why I didn't try to get close to that. And the exact reason is that I was not risking it. So I wasn't, because with the amount of tentacles that are floating nearby, as well as the absolute nuclear bomb that he just dropped, it's not on my to deal with list, and immediately the boss focuses in on me yet again. Why? Why do all the bosses have it out for me for no other reason than fuck you? Oh, and it probably has happened several times thus far, but I'm only after realising that he can also deflect arrows, which makes my DPS even less efficient. I have to admit, these bosses are well crafted, just very, very scary and annoying at the same time. So they are. But yes, the carpet bombing runs again, because this completely kills any DPS that you can even try and push out, simply off the base fact of who staggered him. Okay, it is what it is. But at the same time, though, it's a case of, with the carpet bomb runs, the tentacles, there's a lot to micromanage in this boss, because I have had times where the 2 or 3 tentacles have spawned right next to each other, and has caused me to get straight up one shot because I just got slapped by all 3 tentacles at the exact same time, which more or less just left it very, very dangerous for me. And then of course I've got no healing, and of course he hits the sleep, and only this time that sleep hit a lot fucking faster. So it did. That sleep hit a lot faster than expected, but luckily enough, it's my first down within this boss, so I'm okay for the meantime. And she's got her spirit someone to help get her up, which is pretty damn good. Having all 3 of us back up again means that we're pretty damn good. And of course, the second that I see anything of issues, it's going to be the nuclear bomb again. Only this guy is going to try and destroy the nuclear bomb. I have, what thought process did you have in that scenario? And then of course I get blown up and sniped at the exact same time. So we are really, really pushing the envelope here, so we are. I'm trying to wiggle away from the damn tentacle, because the tentacle is not fun. But it is quite clear that we are all more or less down to our last, basically, bits of health. So it is, we're down to our last bits of health, and that's all we can do for the meantime. So it is. So it's just a case of, let's do what we can to see if we can get anything done. Again, the carpet bomb runs. This boss has no fucking chill whatsoever. It's just carpet bomb after carpet bomb after carpet bomb. And I'm too busy trying to figure out how I'm going to stay alive. But if you look at the state of everybody, everybody is in very, very dangerous territory. So they are. Now, luckily enough, I did save up an ult, and that puts us in the prime position to finally try to put this boss down. I'm not risking healing anybody at this stage. I'm safer just going for the boss. So I am, and the success was needed. So it was. So we successfully defeated the Night Lord after just a great success. One attempt, I'll accept. So I will. So guys, I will leave you with the cutscene. This is me saying I'm out. I hope you all enjoyed that little run. I hope you really did enjoy it because that was a good one-time run. So it was. Please like, share, and subscribe if you didn't enjoy. And remember, guys, not everything goes to plan. Bye.
I see it now. Shrouded by haze, yet clear as day. A sign of the root of all ill, of the thing we must needs slay. The onset of night.